Morning. Hope all of you are doing well.
Children crossing ahead.
I'm back behind the wheel and in front of you after a very long time. Incidentally, I was just thinking way back, when I was in school, I think I was 12 or 13 years old, and I was very eager to drive the car. My father, very, very strict man. I mean, he saw me once or twice trying to change the gear and start the car. And that time we were talking about the Ambassador cars, and he was in the civil service, so he would get a government vehicle to take him around. But I would try and do funny things and try and act smart and hide and try and start the car. So he was very, very strict. He said, "Dude, you try anything like this and you're grounded." But I was very, very keen. I was very keen to learn. I was very keen to drive. And I was a short guy, so my feet barely touched the pedals. So it so happened that Dad was on deputation to a company called ICRISAT, International Crop Research Institute, and they, of course, had the Datsun cars, the Japanese cars, with the adjustable seat and everything. So when that car came in, and my parents used to be entertaining a lot and be entertained also, because again the service demanded them to socialize and circulate. So what I would do, I don't know how I got this idea. The cars used to be parked in a particular way, with the head of the car facing the gate. Every time the drivers would come and park the car after the day's job was done. What I would do is put 2 bricks behind each of the rear tires, and those were automatic cars. I really didn't have to bother about the clutch. So I would start the car, put it into drive, and I'd put 2 cushions so that I'd get some height so I could see the road. And I would sit like this and then slowly take the car out of the gate, very short spin, take it up the road, turn around, come back and reverse and put it back exactly the same way. And I would align it with the bricks that were, which I had put. And then I would remove the bricks. So every time my dad used to come back from his party and all, he would look at the cars to see if everything was okay. It so happened once that it was not aligned. He caught it and he said, "Have you been driving?" I said, "No." "Don't lie." Because then he said the car was like this, it's now like this. Man, I got belted for it. I got belted. But I used to ask him, "Dad, what's the problem? Why can't I drive?" He said, "Look, driving is not a problem. I know you can drive. Maybe I'll teach you or somebody will teach you and you'll drive. But you are not mentally geared up. Your body and reflexes are not yet geared up to take any eventuality that may happen. You will not only put yourself in danger, you will endanger somebody else. Everything has to happen at the right time." He says, "You want to handle the steering wheel? Fine. When I'm driving, you sit next to me." And Ambassador cars, if you would think back, would not have split seats. They would have one continuous seat, so one could sit really close to the driver. So I would sometimes he would give me the steering and I would steer it. Anytime some car would come, then Dad would take over. So Dad used to love driving. So he said, "Look, when you come of age, which is around 17, 18, that's the time when your body and your mind are aligned to take on anything. Your reflexes are very good. You are able to read and anticipate what the other person is going to do. Most of the time, it is not your mistake. 90% of the time, it's somebody else's mistake that gets you into trouble as well. So your ability to look ahead of 2 cars ahead of you, see the bike or the rickshaw fellow who's trying to, dart across. And you'll see on the roads nowadays, they have absolutely no regard for lane driving. That's most of the time because it's not enforced. But you got to see through the windscreen, and this is what he taught me. You got to look through the windscreen of the car in front of you to see what the car in front of that car is going to do. You got to see the gestures of motorcyclists and the pillion riders. Where are their hands going? Because invariably when they show a hand, they're going to go in that direction, left or right. So many of these points that he pointed out. At that time I used to get very irritated when I was small, because all my other friends had already started, driving with the driver next to them and all that. But my dad refused. He told the driver also, if you give him the car, you're fired. I understood much later why he was saying that. So the point here I'm trying to make is that you'll see a lot of kids getting behind the wheel, and the parents feel very proud. Oh, my son, my daughter. They don't realize they themselves are putting those little ones, they are little, at risk. Very big risk. What's the point? Just to show off? Just to prove to somebody else that even my child can drive? Or the child trying to prove to another friend, hey, I can drive and I can drive better than you? That competition sometimes can cost you dearly. So when there is a law which says you drive only after you're 18, that's there for a reason. There's a reason why some wise people say don't drive until you are 18. Please, this is not some talk in the air. It is practical, tried and tested. So next time you want to get behind a wheel and parents want to put their kids, give them a bike, give them a moped or whatever, think, you may not see that child in one piece, or you may not see that child at all, and there will be nobody else to blame but yourself. Give it a thought. Driving is beautiful, it's fun, as long as you know how to, and you are safe and you keep others safe. Happy driving.